Hi, in this video I'm going to be making my predictions for the Copa America 2015 in Chile, which comes in the next 2 weeks. Copa America is a very special tournament that only happens once every 4 years, usually the year after the World Cup, and it is one of the toughest, most widely recognized continental tournaments in the world, after the World Cup and after the European Championship. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about who I think will advance from the three groups, as well as who will go on to win the Copa America. In Group A, we have Chile, Bolivia, Ecuador, and Mexico. I think playing at home and with the type of flair that Chile's attack has, with Arturo Vidal and Alexis Sanchez, it should fire them to win all three games in this group. I think Chile will finish with 3 wins and 9 points. And I think they will advance to the quarterfinals. Second, I think will be between Ecuador and Mexico. If Mexico had brought their full A team down to Chile this summer, I would have said Mexico second, Ecuador third. But they're primarily focusing, Miguel Herrera said that they're primarily focusing on the Copa de Oro, the Gold Cup this summer, and that they will be bringing a B-side to Chile. So I'm going to say Ecuador will finish in second in this group, and Mexico will finish in third. Bolivia, typically the weakest team in South America, I think they will finish bottom of this group with maybe 3 losses or 2 losses and maybe 1 draw. But I don't think Bolivia will advance from this group. So again, Group A, in first place, Primero, Chile, in second place, Segundo, Ecuador, and third, Mexico, Tercer. In Group B, we have Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, and Jamaica. I see no reason why Argentina should not get at least 7 out of 9 points from this group. I can see them tying Uruguay, who have a very resolute, tough defense with Diego Godin and Maximiliano Pereira. So I think Argentina will win this group. They have the attacking firepower to do it, and they proved in the World Cup last summer that their defense is more astute than many thought. In second place, I think, despite not having Luis Suarez up in attack, I think Uruguay will have enough attacking power in Cristian Stuani and Edison Cavani to defeat Jamaica and at least get a draw against Paraguay, which will be enough to secure second spot in the group. Third place, I have Paraguay over Jamaica, who I think will finish with 3 losses, 0 points out of 9, and maybe no goals or maybe 1 goal scored overall in their group. So in first I have Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, and Jamaica eliminated. Group C is the group that is the toughest on paper. Brazil, Colombia, Peru, and Venezuela. I think the 2 favorites in this group, Brazil and Colombia, should absolutely advance. They should dispatch Peru and Venezuela, not easily, but comfortably enough to finish in first and second, respectively, in this group. I just think Brazil, who have been on the up since their disastrous World Cup, since Dunga has come back, has reinstilled confidence in this team. They have gone undefeated in the last 9 friendly matches, and they look to be on a roll at the current moment. Colombia also has too much depth in their team for the likes of Peru and Venezuela to overcome, with James Rodriguez, Jackson Martinez, Radamel Falcao will probably play since he's back from his injury, and of course Ospina in goal, who plays for Real Madrid. Or actually, I forgot who Ospina plays for. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else. But in this group, I think Brazil will finish in first. Colombia will finish in second. I think Peru and Venezuela will probably fight for third and fourth place, of which I think Peru will get third, and Venezuela finishing in last. Peru is one of the more weaker teams in South America, although they are known to cause surprises, such as the way they did in Copa America 2011 when they finished in third place. Venezuela is a team that used to be the whipping boys of South America, but in recent years have started to become a much better team that nobody wants to play against, and they barely missed out on qualifying for the 2014 World Cup in Brazil last summer. I think Peru against Venezuela, that match will probably end in a draw or a narrow win for Peru. And I think because of that and because of who their two other opponents are in the group, Brazil and Colombia, I think that both Peru and Venezuela will not be one of the best third-place teams that advance. I think the two best third-place teams that advance to the quarterfinals will be Paraguay and Mexico, in that order. I think Paraguay, even though they have been in the decline for the last few years, failing to reach the World Cup in 2014, I think that they will benefit enormously from having Jamaica in their group, which is not a common bowl giant. They're one of the invited teams from the Caribbean to participate in this tournament. So moving on to the quarterfinals, the way that my bracket is set up, I have Chile against Paraguay, Ecuador against Colombia, Argentina against Mexico, and Uruguay against Brazil. If you're a Chile and you're the host in this tournament and there's any team you want to play in the quarterfinals out of the ones that I just mentioned, you want to play against Paraguay. Like I mentioned, they're one of the weakest teams in this tournament, probably after Jamaica and Bolivia. They are the weakest team in this tournament. And I think that they should have no problem blitzing them and getting through. I would say 3-1, 3-0 or 3-1. Chile, the host, should at least in this tournament get to the semifinals, and I think they will at least get to the semifinals. Ecuador-Colombia is a classic rivalry match. I have a bunch of Ecuadorian and a few Colombian friends, and anytime Ecuador and Colombia play against each other, it's usually like a heated affair. Recently, Colombia, in the last 3-4 years, I would say has surpassed Ecuador as the superior team in the region. In the early 2000s, I would say Ecuador, because Ecuador had qualified for 2 consecutive World Cups, whereas Colombia failed to do so. But now Colombia has been starting to get the better of their neighbor. And I think that they just overall have a better, more balanced side than Ecuador, who relies too much on Felipe Caicedo and I forgot the guy's name, but his last name is Jackson, and Walter Iovi to score their goals. I think that Ecuador's bench doesn't have as much strength as Colombia's overall. And I think that Colombia will win that match either 2-0 or 2-1. And Colombia will go to the semifinals to play Chile. Argentina against Mexico. If this was a full-strength Mexican side at Copa America, which it won't be because Miguel Herrera said it will be a B team participating, I would say that this would be a very good match and Mexico would have a chance to pull off the upset. But I think Argentina will just sweep aside Mexico's B team that are just too strong for them. I think they will win this probably 3-0, maybe 4-0, maybe 4-1. I think the closest match in the quarterfinals will be between Brazil and Uruguay. Again, Uruguay without Luis Suarez will very much struggle to score against an astute Brazilian defense, which in my opinion is either the best or second best defense in South America behind Argentina. Probably, actually, I would say they are the best defense in South America, with Thiago Silva, David Luiz, Dante, Paulinho. I would say that because of this, and because the Uruguay are missing Luis Suarez, I think it's going to be too much of a tall order for them to try to score on Brazil and get past them into the semifinals. So the quarterfinals is, I think, where the limit is for Uruguay. I think Brazil will defeat Uruguay 2-0. So the semifinals, we have Chile against Colombia and Argentina against Brazil. Now, the Argentina-Brazil match is a match that a lot of people anticipated to be the final of Copa America. It was the final in 2007, and it was the final in 2004. But this time, I think they're going to meet in the semifinals, and only one of them can go through to the final. But first, let me talk about Chile and Colombia. I think overall, Colombia are a better team than Chile. However, if this match was played anywhere in general, it would be considered a toss-up. But the fact that it is being played in Chile, with the home crowd behind the Rojiblancas and Jorge Sampaoli, I think that the home advantage crowd will be just enough for Chile to get past Colombia. Again, I think if this match was played anywhere else, I would give the edge to Colombia to advance to the final. And if Colombia does win and goes to the final, I would not be surprised. But I'm going to say Chile, with the attacking flair that they have, even though they are suspect at the back, I'm going to say that Chile will edge Colombia just barely to get to the final on home soil in Santiago. I'll say that match will probably end as a tie, and then it will go to penalties in which Chile will win. Brazil-Argentina has the potential to be the best match of the tournament, of the Copa America. And I could see that match going either way. Again, Brazil have been back to their normal self in the past 8 or 9 months under Dunga, who has returned from his original stint at the 2010 World Cup. But I feel that Argentina will be hungrier for success because of their failure in the World Cup final against Germany last summer. And I feel that it will be a narrow victory for La Albiceleste. I feel Argentina will win 1-0 over Brazil, thus setting up a match for third place, tercer puesto, between Colombia and Brazil, of which I think Brazil will win third place. Brazil is Brazil, no matter how strong or how weak they may be at times. I feel that Brazil will always be mentioned in a contenders list to potentially go all the way to win. And I just can't see Brazil not finishing in the top 3. I think Brazil will finish in third place, Colombia will finish in fourth. In the final of Copa America 2015, I think Chile, the host nation, will play against Lionel Messi's Argentina. And in the final, I think we will see heartbreak for the host nation as Argentina go on to lift the Copa America for the 15th time after extra time, which I think will be a 2-1 victory for Argentina, and Lionel Messi and Sergio Aguero will finally win a trophy for their national team. So those are my predictions for Copa America. I think Argentina will win the tournament. I think Chile, the host nation, will finish runner-up. I think Brazil will finish in third and Colombia in fourth. Again, I won't be surprised if Colombia versus Argentina in the final, but I'm giving the home advantage slightly to Chile, who I think will reach the final this year.